Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Do you have a theme song for it?
Yes,
Haven't chosen it yet?
well,
The night the lights went out in Georgia? More than
There you go. Yeah, we played that. We got it all covered.
tonight Fawny punches Trump's lights out in Georgia. Okay, listen. Harry, you made a good point. You said of the bail, you said, yeah, 200,000 is not significant measured by Trump's wealth, but it represents a judgment not made so far in the other cases that he can't be trusted to show up based on his own word. That's quite a statement about a former president, and that's what I meant by indignity.
Yeah, I mean, it seems. Look, the other three, it didn't happen. The argument actually came up, and his lawyer said, "Come on, he's the most recognizable guy these days, or one of them on the planet. Where's he gonna go, etc." And every judge bought that. So I don't think exactly they did some calculation, net worth, what will it take. But it really, at a minimum, shows the indignity for Trump that they're processing him like any other defendant. That's also the fingerprinting, the mugshot, the trip to the really decrepit Fulton County jail. Just a real taste of every man and woman's criminal justice in
Republicans
this country, which isn't pretty.
Yeah, Republicans are so suddenly concerned with prisoners' rights and jail conditions. Harry, I think what it is people are just so thirsty for actual justice, for this actually being a country of laws, not men, right? That no one is above the law. All the things that we say, people have seen him get away with crimes his entire life, unfortunately, and I think, and seeing two systems of justice, and the fact who remains free that is charged with 91 felonies in 4 jurisdictions,
right?
That
Exactly.
of.
It's not presidents versus none. It really is that way, and I think it's a boring event, somebody showing up and posting bond, but I think people are thirsty for something that's vivid and visual. There's been the papers and the arguments back and forth, but whoa, it's happening. Here he is. He's showing up, and I think it like brings it home. Probably no to him as much as to anyone. I think you're right. He has been skating through the raindrops his whole life, and now he's he's in the jaws of the law for sure.
Yeah. Technically, he wouldn't be skating if it was rain, because then it would be cold enough for it to freeze.
It's a little early.
Never mind.
In California.
Roller skates.
Yeah,
Sure, he's roller skating through the raindrops, or he's skating through the snowflakes. Okay, Harry. You said Trump signs the conditions of release specifying the $200,000 and the broad requirements of non-intimidations. Court's ability to discipline him up and to including incarceration is doubly anchored to its inherent authority to protect the proceedings and his own agreement. I mean, and it was very specific and unusual, wasn't it? The list of conditions being that it's him. Very specific about who you can't intimidate, and they felt like they had to name everybody, right? Witnesses.
Yeah. I mean, it's not unique, but it's the kind of thing that you see a drug lord or a mob boss get, and that to date, nobody else has gotten. Chesbrough and Eastman get very sort of short mentions of this, but somebody made the qualitative judgment. Donald Trump, record of harassment. Donald Trump, record of dumping on the court. You know what? Give me condition A here, and they do. They list it out, including a kind of grab bag miscarriage of justice one that they could. They are armed now in the law. Now, of course, everyone understands that the actual use of these weapons. Well, let me take a step back and say I was making a point. He's talking First Amendment and getting arrested this morning. Eastman talks First Amendment, but it's not a First Amendment in the same way anymore. You're a prisoner, and you are released under certain conditions by a judge whose lookout it is that you don't intimidate witnesses or pollute the jury pool. And by the way, Mac, look at that signature down there. That's you agreeing to do these things. So you don't have the normal First Amendment rights that you otherwise would. But in addition, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry, but given your woeful record of really inflammatory rhetoric, we're slapping this one with it as well.
And I love they covered social media. No, you can't retweet. because he thinks
right,
here's a
that,
loophole.
Right?
I just retweeted someone. Yeah.
Somebody, don't take Don Trump Jr.'s crazy ass tweet and retweet it. They have thought it through. Now, of course, he's going to try to walk up to the line. It's going to be a terrible mess if McAfee, the judge, feels like I've got no cards left to play, and this wouldn't be until several transgressions, but to put the former president and current, leading Republican candidate in jail. And so, that's and from Trump's point of view, there are some at least who think, hey, he'll love to sort of jerk around the system because either he winds up getting away with it or he winds up playing the martyr. Maybe. But we have a really basically unprecedented dynamic here. I mean, the whole thing that this is happening, a really, what would already be a super serious social accounting is happening at the same time as this guy's running for president, and we're looking to prevent this new debacle. Is just, by the way, mind-blowing.
Someone was saying, he's being indicted in the middle of his campaign. No, he's campaigning in the middle of his indictments. These started long before he jumped into the race.
That's really good. Wait, I got to write that one down.
Thank you. Yeah, just use that on MSNBC. Just make sure you credit me.
That's Miller. Got it.
There you go. You tweeted nothing. Anyone has a freestanding right to, e.g., for instance, intimidate witnesses, but the violation would otherwise be measured under the Brandenburg First Amendment standard. Trump is in a different position because he's under the authority of the court and because he signed the agreement. I mean, I guess the guessing game for all of us is he going to violate this? Because he's said, right, publicly, I'm not going to talk about this.
Right. And to say I more nerdy stuff. I need you to edit me, Steph. But it is an important concept. You can start to generally criticize people or the justice system, and the line you hit if you're a free person is when kind of yelling fire in a crowded theater when violence is imminent. That's not his line. His line is the one he agreed to on that piece of paper, not to intimidate and the like. So it's not the normal First Amendment claim. Will he try to violate? I think so, right? Who's lost money betting on that? I think he has. It's kind of what he's running on, right? And yet, does he really want to even get have the country see him hailed into court and slapped around by a judge and made to act the truant child? It feels like he couldn't do that, and then but he couldn't not do it. I personally think he's gonna. We got a year or more of his just jerking the system around. And the question is, will one judge who's been really pushed to the wall say something like, next time you do this, Mr. Trump, and then he does it.
Harry, it couldn't be a more serious time when you look at the guy just shot to death by the FBI who threatened Alvin Bragg and the president. I know you probably have seen Judge Salas on TV, the judge in New Jersey whose son was shot to death as she was being targeted. I know we were saying, I didn't realize that Joyce Vance's father-in-law was a judge that was assassinated. And so this is deadly serious, the kind of violence that Trump just routinely incites, or the way he talks about judges and prosecutors. Obviously, the amount of death threats Fani Willis has gotten. I mean, so this does put this in a different category.
He puts it all out in the air, like January 6th. And then leaves it to crazies to kind of. I mean, really, stop for a second. You're right about Joyce's father-in-law, for example, but it's considered such an isolated event. I think every day these former grand jurors or court personnel or maybe witnesses get up and are afraid for life and limb. That's like Banana Republic stuff, in addition to the potential tragedy. And when it happens, most likely, if it happens, most likely it'll be not at his direct hand, but something he put into motion, and a vivid reminder of what incredible danger he is.
As someone that's given your life to, the justice system here in America, Judge Salas, I think, mentioned this, and I've certainly talked to others about it, that is the saddest thing is this, how partisanship, has become such a poisonous part of our justice system. Judge Salas was saying, because she's an Obama appointed judge, you have this sort of politicization of the judiciary that is just a shame. It's not that's supposed to be what the justice system is above, right? But you have, unfortunately, it's not the fact that Trump appointed, what's her name? Loose cannon. Judge Cannon. It's that she's unqualified and inexperienced. And Trump was the only one that appointed a bunch of judges that were deemed unqualified by the ABA. That's never happened before. So, but again, the minute, there's a judge that was appointed by, whether it's Obama, whoever, it's just, there becomes this bias that, they're not going to be fair, right?
Right, it's a lens that everyone looks at first and foremost because his tendrils, his, icky, inky, polluted tendrils just penetrated so much of our political life, and presumably even after he's gone. But,
remember he started with the judge is Mexican, I'm building a wall. Right.
And, but the stakes, it felt like, the stakes couldn't increase, and they have, and he in fact has increased them. He said, oh, by the way, if I'm elected, forget about any wall of separation between DOJ and the White House, forget about the administrative state. He is really not, it wouldn't be a side effect. He's running on the politicization and kind of destruction of what we think of as the whole sort of impartial aspect of government. It is serious time.
Yeah, but Harry, the thing I love that I feels like justice is coming on so many fronts is that all his lies and delays, all the stuff he's always done, it seems to be hitting the cold hard light of a courtroom now, which the difference that like Rudy Giuliani, you can go lie on TV and on the steps outside, not in court. There's consequences, and I think we were saying this morning, the two stories that he's blowing his credibility with Judge Chutkan by having his lawyers ask for these ridiculous 2026 trial date, or Jack Smith is torpedoing his the ridiculous claims about how long it would take them to prepare. So, are you confident in that part of the judicial system?
It's proven so far, and it really is deeply satisfying. Maybe it's just the lawyer in me, but the things he says out there, he has avoided saying in court because his lawyers won't let him, and among other reasons, they themselves would be subject to discipline. So all this stuff that he's been saying literally for years now, and we've seen this happen with Giuliani, among others. You go in front of a court where lies are under penalty of perjury, and this guy who gets up lying and lies all day, even he stays his hand. That tells you something about the continued independence and vitality of the court system, which by and large has done a pretty damn good job these last several years.
Don't you think it happened this week with his I'm going to get this press conference Monday, irrefutable proof of election fraud in Georgia. His lawyers must have just I would assume, right, said you cannot do that or we quit. It's because he's already.
And he said it got even a little more. People kind of, this little teeny little detail, but he said in the thing, my lawyers have made me stop. When does Trump ever listen? He's been bossed around. And he said, even though there is what I believe to be irrefutable proof, his lawyers have woodshedded him and said, stop telling these blatant lies that it was a fraud. At least put in I believe, because that's something that can't be shown to be, perjurious in the same way. I think he is flinching. I think he's really coming to grips with it, and Fulton County is a big part of it. That's an ugly state criminal justice system, and even if he wins, he's got problems.
Yeah, real quick before you go, Mark Meadows, speculation on what's happening with him, and has he completely just, blown up Trump's defense on the classified documents by saying there was no standing order and et cetera?
Well, except it was already a pile of cinders. He's the 20th person to do it on that one. But it's really interesting, Steph, and I think not clear. He gave up some stuff for sure in the federal grand jury, but he's not a cooperating defendant. So has he given impartial measures? We thought that maybe he'd given it, but then why is he letting himself, is his good lawyer letting himself be indicted in Fulton County? Maybe that he's first out of the box to say, remove my case and I want immunity because I was doing my job as a federal officer. That might show his global strategy, but it's still Unclear. Some people think he's already fessed all up, but then I think he would have been a cooperator. That's the number one thing that I think is the point of suspense in the federal indictment.
Is there a legal term for slippery weasel? Or is that just...
Right, slippery is weaselless.
Slippery
Yes.
treason weasel. Okay. Harry, thanks for taking time for us, as always.
Thanks, Jen.
All right,
Always
honey.
fun.
See
Bye-bye.
you next time.
Bye.
There he goes.
Boost your immunity now with Tapiro, the new high-potency, great-tasting elderberry gummies infused with zinc and vitamin C. Tapiro is available exclusively at healthpowerusa.com. Boost your immunity. Order your supply of Tapiro now at healthpowerusa.com.